We are faced with a situation now whereby we are so heavily depending on law enforcement to protect us as a people within a society where there's so much crime. But as the reggae song by Steel Pulse said so many years ago, who's going to guard us from the gods? They said, to the bodyguard, I would not like your job because there are snakes in the grass. And if there are those, as KRS once said in his song about the police force, not Black Cop, where he spoke about so many crooked and corrupt police officers, but he wrote a song raising the question, who will protect us from you? And for those of us who were totally shocked by seeing that viral video of a police officer conducting an illegal marijuana sale, we clearly don't understand the reality of the society in which we live and the societies in which we live. Because how many years has it been that we have constantly been exposed to reports about crooked police officers, about stories of a neighborhood drug dealer, and in some cases, the neighborhood drug dealer is a police officer themselves? Yes, we know about corruption and police brutality, like that sticker I saw on the back of a car so many years ago, talking about Trinidad and Tobago being the land of Calypso, steel band, limbo, and police brutality, which has become such commonplace, socially accepted and expected. And if the prisons are filled with young black men who have entered there because of their possession of marijuana, but that possession of marijuana may have been the result of a police officer either planting it on them or selling it to them, apparently in a legitimate sale, then we're in a crisis situation. So I want to run through very briefly here some examples of issues where there have been serious concerns about our law enforcement. Newsday newspaper report entitled Some Cops to Blame for Crime. April 18th, 2016, Inspector Michael Seals says some police officers must take blame for the galloping murder rate in the country because in their respective communities, like so many citizens, they too have been turning a blind eye to crimes committed. March 28th, 2008, Guardian newspaper featured a story entitled Cops Probe Cops. That said, 3 police officers assigned to a high-profile unit were the subjects of a police probe after 12 kilograms of high-grade compressed marijuana and a gun disappeared from a crime scene after a shootout. November the 11th, 2016, 6 police officers caught on video carrying out a robbery against a Chinese family from whom they allegedly stole. They were in police custody, the police in police custody. The November 24th, 2016 Newsday reported that a senior police officer was held by the fraud squad in connection with fraudulent duty slips, which allowed a female SRP to be overpaid thousands of. Special Reserve police officers were detained following a sting operation by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau. A Diego Martin businessman complained that 3 police officers told him that he has to pay $4,500 a week every Monday for a month, or else he would be detained. And then one of the most telling of them all, finally, is a Guardian newspaper article entitled Citizens Don't Trust Cops. This is dated December 11th, 2016, where it gave some much clearer in-depth details. It stated that up to that time, the Police Complaints Authority received a total of 2,139 complaints against police officers. Now, consider that number. 2,139 complaints. And that was in a 2-year period. And among those complaints, you're seeing issues that are even worse than what the police arrest members of the public for. So you may arrest me for a minor offense, but at the same time, you're committing a major offense. And then those on the ground level within the communities who have knowledge of this in no way would be able to respect the police force. So now further affiliation with one another emerges and evolves as a result of the lack of trust and confidence and respect for the police. And then that is criminalized because it's called a gang. What if the police are the way that they are as a threat or a danger or a hazard to the community, and then members of the community now have to protect themselves from crooked officers by forming themselves into a group, but then the law comes, passes an anti-gang legislation bill that criminalizes our affiliation for one another, with one another, even if it is lawful, because we are called a gang. And called a gang when there are other kinds of gangs that go completely unnoticed. Now look at this here, beloved. 2,139 complaints against police officers, and according to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, between 2012 and 2016, the police service suspended over 150 officers from the rank of constable to assistant commissioner, while 63 officers were currently facing charges before the court. Listen, of the 2,139 complaints before the Complete Complaints Authority, 1,279 of them were still being actively investigated. 254 of those officers were currently facing legal action before the courts, and 606 investigations were completed. According to statistics provided by the Police Complaints Authority, between October the 1st, 2014 and September 30th, 2015, there were 230 allegations of criminal offenses by police officers. Reflect on that, because that is at least 1 every 2 days. It's closer to 2 every 3 days. There are neighborhoods in this country where 2 crimes are not even committed every 3 days. But within the police service, 2 criminal offenses every 3 days being committed. According to their own data, this does not include those that were not caught. In addition to those 230 allegations of criminal offenses, there were 442 allegations of disciplinary offenses, a total of 674 offenses identified by police officers in a year, which is almost 2 every day. Head of Corporate Communications in the Police Service, Ellen Lewis, said the Professional Standards Bureau, which has internally been responsible for investigating allegations of wrongdoing leveled against police officers, was mandated by the Commissioner of Police to pursue matters involving officers without fear or favor. The article went on to say, the population is grappling with rising murders and a prevalence in missing people, rapes and robberies, and citizens question the competence and integrity of the police force almost daily based on frequent public complaints. October the 5th, 2016, Janet Ramsahal made a report to the Police Complaints Authority regarding her son Josiah and allegations that he was being harassed by a police officer. In the last few lines of the report, she asked several questions, including, what should I do? Should I wait and have to bury my son? Where shall I take my complaint to if no one is listening? And then on November 18th, just about a month and just over a month and a week after her son Josiah was shot in what police claimed was a shootout with officers. She buried him days later. October 20th, Adele Gilbert was killed in an alleged shootout with officers in San Fernando, but witnesses claimed that he had no gun. Both Ramsahai and Gilbert's relatives claimed unlawful acts by police officers, further adding to the lack of confidence in the police force. Now, these were cases where police were not prosecuted, but killings took place, even though there was concern expressed in advance by family members. And of course, on December 9th, 2016, head of Police Complaints Authority, David West, referred to the police as the biggest gang in the country. And he said this gang, the police, is left untouched and there have been no prosecutions. In 2015, of the number of offenses registered with the Police Complaints Authority on the police, which included 7 cases of fatal shootings, 4 cases of non-fatal shootings, 1 case of causing death by dangerous driving, 7 murders, 90 cases of assault, 4 cases of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, 3 cases of wounding with intent to do grievous bodily harm, 2 cases of assault and battery, 9 cases of common assault, 18 cases of harassment, 7 threats only, 3 cases of killing or wounding animals, co-figure, 1 case of money laundering, 1 case of rape, 1 case of indecent assault, 1 case of incest, 1 case of grievous sexual assault, 1 case of sexual harassment in spite of the numerous complaints, 14 cases of unlawful and unnecessary use of force, 16 cases of larceny and related offenses, 11 cases of malicious damage, 1 case of trespassing and unlawful entry, 1 case of possession of marijuana. Imagine that, 1. I guess it's gone up to 2 by now, but we happen to know that it's a lot more than that. Other offenses including perverting the course of justice, wrongful arrest, shooting with intent, misbehavior in public office, dangerous driving, domestic violence, use of obscene language, of which there was 4, by the way. And that gives you the 230. And now, today in the news, we're hearing about 3 prison officers in police custody for trying to traffic contraband into the prison. And all of this on the backdrop of a long laundry list of troubles, corrupt and criminal behaviors by law enforcement officers. But more importantly than all of that, or of equal importance, a traumatized population that feels like they're the victim of a rising crime rate, who believe they have absolutely nowhere to turn. And that, beloved, is when it gets really dangerous. That's when it gets really unfortunate. So, my beloved people, I want us to think very deeply about this.